видно. И цветы. Нормально. Я отключу, да? А, ну уже вкусно. Окей.
I'm going to pass out the workbooks right now, but I'm just going to ask that you don't open it yet. We'll just introduce it as time flies by. And I want to just thank you guys, first of all, for joining me here today for the Mind Lab. It is an absolute honor and privilege and joy to be able to share this work with you, because this is something that has been in my heart and in my mind for so long. And it took me so many years to finally decide to create the Mind Lab. It took so long because it's something that is actually kind of scary. You know, it's something that's always been on my heart since learning about like the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? How many people have seen that? What the Bleep Do We Know? Cool. What the Bleep, B-L-E-E-P, do we know? Yeah, it's kind of like you know, it's called What the Bleep Do We Know? Or like the movie The Secret, or the book The Secret. How many people read The Secret? So lots of attraction, 101. So this is like, as a passionate researcher, I'm kind of an independent researcher. I do my own work. I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm a self-proclaimed quantum physicist, and I just love this stuff. But part of my calling has always been to take the really far out ideas of quantum physics and be able to make them applicable and practical in a way that's meaningful and in a way that we can actually utilize. So today what we're going to be talking about is basically we're going to be squeezing in a 4-hour workshop into 1 hour and 15 minutes. So there's no way that you can actually get through the whole process. But we're going to do as much as possible, and if you're going to get a really powerful new perspective towards what is possible in our own life, and actually utilizing meditation as a tool to make our dreams come true. So the Mind Lab is a program that we've taken to over 10 countries, 15 cities, actually more than 15, I think we're up to like 25 cities, and we've hosted it around the world, and basically what we've been doing is experimenting with these different models to find out what works best. And so we actually have a process that you go through, and this Saturday, how many people are going to be here on Saturday? Cool. So we're actually going to be doing a Mind Lab in town here, the full Mind Lab on Saturday if you're available. We're going to head out, I think it's 1 o'clock p.m., 13th, and we're going to hand out flyers. But for now, I just want to start off by grabbing your glass of water. How many of you have heard of Dr. Emoto? Water experiment. So Dr. Emoto is a scientist who discovered the effects of the mind and our energy and our intention on water. And so after being able to take these different vials of water and put their energy into it, they saw that when they freeze the water, each image that they would take is a microscopic image of these crystals. And they saw that these symbols with the word love on it were these beautiful looking snowflakes, and the other ones were kind of like some crazy ideas, like, you know, you get the picture. What we're going to do right now is we're going to put some energy into our water. So I invite you to quickly close your eyes. And let's focus our energy on what is the intention that you would like to create? What is the intention you would like to set this workshop with? And if you could bring that intention to one word, choose that word, and we're going to go around the circle and we're just going to say that word out loud, and then the whole group is going to speak that word back. So I will start with joy. You guys what we say? Joy. Empowerment. Awake. Freedom. Realization. Healing. Transformation. Involvement. Open. Courage. Brave. Kung Fu Panda Warrior. Kung Fu Panda Warrior. Influence. Presence. Potential. Unity. Destination. Success. Volcano. Victory. Brilliance. Embrace. Understanding. Inspiration. Water. Back. Growth. Peace. Focus. Cheers. Cheers. There's a tool in our brain, and this part of our brain is designed to tell us when we are thirsty and when we're satiated. And by the time that we turn 35 years old, that part of our brain starts to not work as well. In fact, most people that are walking around in the streets are walking around dehydrated. And when we're dehydrated, what happens in the body? It doesn't work properly. What happens to our energy? Water is like the fuel, or like the oil of the body. And as you all know, in the 21st century, with all of the pollution and all of the shit that's happening to our water, it's becoming increasingly important to realize that we are made of 70 and more % water. So it's important to really drink water intentionally and drink a lot of it. And realize the power that our mind has over our water and the power that our mind has over our bodies, considering that we are made of 70% water. All those thoughts, all of those feelings actually have an impact on our body on a cellular level. Who's with me? And the science is out there. You know, the science is becoming more and more accessible. We're starting to see these new types of research done on the power of the mind and the power of the heart on our body, on our physical structure. So today what we're going to be talking about is basically some of the how we can start to become more aware of our unconscious programming. Most people are walking around the world and we're thinking constantly about our past programs. Our past programs were actually created by the time you're 7 years old. All the neural programs that we have in our body, affirmation is a statement like, I am powerful. Let's say that together. I am powerful. Now, what happens in the body when we say that? I want to say that one more time. And when we say it, I want you to feel what happens in the body on cellular level. Okay? We're going to say, I am powerful together. I am powerful. Can you feel it? What happens in the body when we use these activations is that we start to activate the cells. So, how many people would consider themselves more scientific versus more spiritual? If you're more scientific, raise your hand. And if you're more spiritual, raise your hand. It's about 50-50. I think we're all kind of a little bit of both, and that's totally okay. So our mind is designed to keep us alive, and our minds are constantly thinking. But those of you who have read The Power of Now know that the ego is constantly chattering, it's constantly in fear. But the moment that we become conscious, the moment we enter into consciousness, we become like Gandalf on the bridge saying, you shall not pass. Those negative thoughts. Because the moment that we have a negative thought, it enters into the body. And it activates us on a cellular level, on a genetic level. So I want you to open up your workbook real quick. And we're going to turn to the page that has the neural feedback loop. Yeah, neural pathways. So, our mind, every day we think between 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And those thoughts are just moving over and over again. Most of the thoughts that we have are the same thoughts that we had from yesterday and the day before that. So we're kind of like looping. Like you may have seen like a crazy guy on the streets before who's just saying that same thing over again. Have you ever seen them things? Have you ever felt like those guys?
Yeah.
I know I have. Our minds are constantly moving with these same thoughts. And what happens when we have a thought is that it triggers a memory from the past. And when we experience that memory, we suddenly have a feeling. So when we have a feeling, what happens in the body? What is a feeling? Reaction. What kind of reaction? So we have an emotional reaction. We have an emotional reaction. What is emotion? Chemicals. Energy. So our body is made up of all of these chemicals. And in every moment, we are creating more of these chemicals. And at every moment, we're having these thoughts over and over again because the thought triggers a feeling. So something to think about here, this is really important. A lot of people say, well, I've been using my affirmations, and I'm saying I am happy, but I feel depressed, or I feel like crap. It's because the language of the mind is thought, and the language of the body is feeling. Let's say that together. The language of the mind is thought, the language of the body is feeling. So if we want to start to reprogram our bodies to feel happy, we want to feel happy, we've got to stop feeling depressed. Right? How do we feel happy?
If we just like started saying it, doing things that make me happy, we just say, living like different. We need to remember how it was when we were happy. Like, remember
Absolutely. We have to feel happy.
It's like I won't appreciate what you expect from you. Don't disappoint yourself.
So the brain has 100 billion neural connections, the brain and the body. But here's the thing. Point on your body, point to your brain. This is your brain, but where's your mind?
All in the body, people around.
Yeah. The mind is all over. So it's like so many people are living according to their mind. And their mind controls them. So like when we're hungry, right, people say, oh, I'm angry. You know that one? I am angry because my stomach is hungry. It's controlling my emotions. I used to be a smoker. How often, when you're a smoker, how often do you think about smoking that next cigarette? Usually about 5 to 10 minutes after you smoke the last one. Or right after you eat, or right after you have coffee, or whatever it may be. So we have all of these demands that are happening in our body. And these demands are actually programmed into our body. And we can start to communicate to our body to change those thoughts. Another affirmation. Whatever nerve cells fire together, wire together. Let's say it together. Whatever nerve cells fire together, wire together. Nerve cells that fire together, wire together. So that means that the more time that you spend feeling happy, or the more time that you spend feeling wholeness, completeness, you're creating that new neural network in the body. The neural network is a connection between the brain and your nervous system, which stands throughout your entire body. And so we can actually recreate ourselves on a cellular level and on a genetic level. So there's a doctor named Fritzler, and he wrote a book called Biology of Belief. It talks about how 70% of the programs that we have in our body are negative and self-defeating. Negative and self-defeating, 70%. And usually it's because our brain is designed to keep us alive. It's going to be in fear. It's going to say, oh, don't do that. You could get hurt. Right? But the body becomes trained for that. And so it constantly relives that experience. So then we move down to action or attitude. You can change action to attitude or have attitude. How many times have you had an experience where you're lingering in a mood, in a feeling, and it's just, it takes over your body? And that feeling, that mood, will linger there for so long that it becomes an attitude. Like maybe you had something happen in your past, like a negative experience, and because of that experience, it just got you down so much that it just kept revisiting that experience. And you didn't know that every time that you relive that experience, you're building that neural network to become stronger to the point where it just became part of your attitude. And now we're becoming aware that we can actually create and recreate new attitudes and new feelings in our body, and the only time that we can do it right now. So, real quick, let's try to feel ecstasy. So there's these things called our adrenal glands. They're right here. Put them in your hands right here. Our adrenal glands are on the top, right on the top of our kidneys. And let's stand up. So the adrenal gland creates a stress hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is there just in case you are in a savanna or in a jungle and all of a sudden a giant lion pops out and you haven't eaten for days and this lion is going to eat you and you're like, holy shit. All of a sudden, you get some cortisol, sugar into your body so you can run out of there and survive even though you haven't eaten for 3 days. That's what we have adrenal glands for. But now we secrete cortisol on a regular basis when we're sitting at a computer because we're stressed out all day. You feel it? You feel that area, that stress, that gut feeling, that kind of like tension is just, oh, you need to stretch, you need to move. And basically what we do need to do is we need to move our bodies to start to burn that off, move energy. So real quick, just like let's move some energy. So we're gonna just open up. Breathe. And then we're going to come down to the middle right here. And then let's twist up, bring one hand to the sky up. Hand down. Hand up. Open up. Deep breath. Stand up. Stay standing for just a minute. So, these attitudes become beliefs. Beliefs are ideas that we hold in our mind for an extended period of time. And when it becomes a belief, it starts to actually crystallize into a neural program. So we can actually start to change these beliefs. And once you start to change these beliefs, you can actually change yourself on a genetic level. Because there's 23 pairs of chromosomes in our DNA. And in each one of these chromosomes, we have hundreds of thousands of genes. And we can actually transform our genes just through our thinking and feeling. This is breaking, like cutting edge scientific breakthroughs that are happening right now that are showing just by changing the environment, just by changing thought, you can change your body. So real quick, what we're going to do is we're just going to do a quick meditation. I'm going to invite you, while standing, we're going to softly close your eyes. And take a few deep breaths. And then take a deep breath from the bottom of your spine all the way to the top of your head. Hold your breath at the top of your head. Let it build its energy. Release. One more. Keep going. The bottom of your spine to the top of your head. Hold it at the top of your head. Let it build its energy. We're disrupting the patterns of the brain. Release. One more. Deep breath. Bottom of your spine, top of your head. Hold it. Let it build. And release. Just feel for a moment. And the goal is to bring yourself repeatedly back into the present moment. Notice your thoughts. They want to go to the future or the past. And every time you catch your mind, just bring it back to the present moment. Relaxing the body back to the present moment. Notice the feeling in the body
So, how many of you noticed that the body was trying to move to a future moment? Could you feel that? Yeah. This is really, really important to realize that there is a propensity for our body on a genetic level to always want to be moving into the present, into the next moment, into the next moment, into the next moment. And it wants it to be the familiar next moment. Like it wants to be able to control the future in order to protect you and in order to keep us alive. Now, I mean, we understand this from a standpoint of, like, yeah, we're trying to, we're always thinking about what's in the future, but what I'm talking about is on a cellular level. The body is constantly preparing itself to live in that next moment. But because we're always thinking about the past, and these past experiences, and reliving those thoughts and feelings, we're also bringing in the past. We're bringing the past into the now moment, recreating those neural pathways right now. And then we're also, at the same time, sending ourselves on a predetermined genetic destiny. We're literally pointing ourselves towards our predetermined genetic destiny because we're constantly reliving these past moments in this now moment. Do you understand? And because we're living these programs that are 70% negative and self-defeating, and Eckhart Tolle talks about how 90 to 95% of our life we're in unconscious thought. That means that the power of meditation is that we can slow the mind down. We're calming the body down, slowing it down into the present moment, so that we can cool it down like you're training an animal, like you're training a horse. My friend does horse training. She has horses, and when they're doing training, they have the hotline around the paddock. The hotline does the shock, and every time the horse gets shocked, it backs up from the fence. And this happens over and over again, to the point where when you try to actually bring the horse through the gate, it will stop. Think about your body like a horse. The body doesn't have a conscious mind. So any thought that we send down through the spinal column, anything that goes through the conscious mind into the body, creates that emotional experience and creates neural pathways that we relive over and over. Yeah. So we have this amazing power to control our bodies, and then we also have this incredible power within our mind, within our conscious mind. And I want to do a quick experiment with you. This is a Mind Lab consciousness technology that we call the channel panel. And basically what we're going to do is you're going to team up with someone next to you, preferably someone that you've never really met before or that you don't know their history. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions about this person. You don't actually know the answer to these questions, but we're going to activate our intuition to be able to channel or use our intuition to see the answer to these questions. There's no judgment here. This is just pure intuition. Cool? All right. So find a partner. And the first question, we're going to have 1 minute to answer these questions. And so the first question is this.
Jonathan, I'm sorry, is somebody single maybe?
I can.
Cool. All right, perfect. Single and ready to mingle. All right, so basically this is what we're going to do. 1 minute each. So I'm going to tell you when to switch. So the first person A, raise your hand. Person A, yeah, cool. Person A is going to go for 1 minute, and then we're going to switch. Person B is going to answer, and then I'll ask the second question. The first question is this: what is this person's potential? You're going to look at this person that you've never met before, and you're going to tell them the potential that you see in them. Person A. Yeah. Person A does the first reading.
Especially the sport is the least one of them. I really like it, but I look good at just what I see, so it's good. So I want to do it.
All right. How was that? Did anyone have any good readings? Yeah, we did. Did you change? When you're ready, this is the next question. This one's a little bit more challenging. What are the challenges that you see holding this person back? Or what are the challenges that this person is facing? What are the challenges that this person has to overcome? People.
how
When you're ready, you can switch partners. All right. So I'd like to have your attention. I'd like to bring us all back together with one big O. So with a deep breath. Let's do one more deep breath. One more. What was that like for you guys? How many people had any interesting readings or channeling? He's good? Nice. Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I can tell.
she's also really good.
Nice. All right.
She actually told what I'm doing.
Mike Hacker. Nice. Anyone else? We all have these intuitive powers. If you haven't checked recently, we're actually living miracles. The fact that we have the capability to become conscious of ourselves, of our connection with the world. There's scientists who are actually proving that when people go into spiritual states of ecstasy, that something happens in the brain. Basically what happens is that the hind side of the brain, which is our survival center, starts to shut down. And our prefrontal cortex starts to open up. And when we do that, something amazing is happening with our energy. Because normally when we're in these states of alpha or beta brainwaves, we're thinking a lot. We're really thinking. We're using our mind. And there's actually electricity that is being created in our mind, in our brain, when we're thinking. And that's why when you're doing a lot of work or research, you can actually get exhausted because you're using energy to think. There's something called quantum coherence. How many you've heard of this? Yeah, quantum coherence is where you see like a flock of birds that are flying in a pattern over a field. You've seen that?
Yeah.
Or like when you see a school of fish that are all swimming together. And it almost looks, it looks majestic. It's like they're moving like a symphony would move with music. And it's because they've actually shown that this is because birds migrate not only because of the change in weather, but because of the vibration that the earth makes. They're actually connected through frequency. And so are we. Because we have this capability to be able to perceive who we are and who we are becoming. Like, it's as if the source of creation created you with a unique blueprint. And its goal is to live through you fully. Like it wants to live completely to its fullest capability through you so that it can experience life to the fullest. It wants to express itself through you to the whole world so that it can see itself in its own reflection in a whole way, to be able to feel wholeness. And it's interesting how in this process of conscious evolution, we're always searching for that other, right? For the other person who completes us. But I believe that when we have the awakening of consciousness, that is when we realize that right now in this moment, we are whole. We are complete. And the moment that you have that transformation, and you have that, and you find another who has that same wholeness, that is when something magical happens. That is when true love is found. Because it's not like we're, looking to rely on someone, or it's not a relationship where it can be destructive or we're consuming each other, but it's rather we're two wholes coming together to experience fullness of life together. So in the medical field, there's these tools called EEGs and EKGs, electroencephalogram and electrocardiogram. The EEG connects to the brain, and it reads brain waves. And the EKG connects to the heart, and it reads the waves of the heart, or the beat of the heart. So everything is frequency. And the body and the brain and the heart emit an electromagnetic frequency. How many of you have heard of the group called HeartMath? HeartMath. You've got to check them out. HeartMath is so powerful. They have discovered that the human heart and the human body has this electromagnetic field. And they've discovered that the human heart is 100 times stronger electrically than the mind, than the brain. 100 times stronger electrically than the brain. And the human heart is 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. The human heart is 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. So that means that when we have those feelings of fear or doubt, or the feeling of ecstasy and joy and creativity and faith, when we have those feelings, what's happening to us on an electromagnetic field? What's happening? We're expanding. Explosion, yeah. What else? It's like we're expanding. We're expanding our energy. We're expanding our capability. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting with the science. Because we say, well, is it physically going out? Is it physically real? Or is it just this illusion? So there's a piece in our brain that is called the thalamic gate. It's in the thalamus. And I actually have worked with these neuroscientists who have this tool called the brain map. They put this thing on your head. And it's got like 30 different receptors, and they squirt gel into your head so that it connects directly to your scalp. And they read your alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and theta brain waves. And they found that when you go into a state of theta, which is like a dream state, but also like an ecstatic, like ecstasy, when you feel faith and you can feel that energy running up your spine, and you have like the truth bumps where your whole body has the truth bumps, so you get the chills. Your brain actually sends a blast of energy, of electricity that goes out the very top of your head. The same spot where we have the soft spot in a baby's head when they're born. which is the last thing that forms when we are born into this world. The soft spot. It could be because we're downloading more information. We're receiving more information. It's like the body is receiving, who knows? Or maybe we're sending it out. But either way, we have this amazing network. So, we're going to do another experiment. What we're going to do right now is I want you to open up to your workbook. And again, I really wish that we had time for the full mind lab, because the mind lab is like this process, but we have to like consume it, put it into a very short amount of time. So we're going to turn to the mind dump, the page that says mind dump. And in order to do this, basically what we're going to do is we're going to activate what I like to call the, man, I don't know though. I don't know if we have time for this. Let's see. Do you guys think, do you think we have time for the quantum vacuum? Yeah? Are you sure? I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's kind of dangerous. I mean, you guys haven't actually gone through the full training yet, and it could blow your mind. I'm just warning you. I'm just warning you. Okay. It's true. I've been prepared for this moment. I think you're ready. I think we can do this. Okay, here we go. I need your help though. So basically what we're going to do is we have to say activate the quantum vacuum together. All right, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Activate the quantum vacuum! Dolphins get this thing. Sorry, I thought I got it fixed. Hold on. One more try. Here we go. All right, together. Activate the quantum vacuum! Whoa. All right, here we go. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for that. So basically, what we're going to do, the quantum vacuum is this idea that all of the answers in the universe, all of the answers that are waiting for us to discover are literally within our mind. But because we have so many thoughts from our past and things that we're holding on to, constantly looping, we don't see the answer that's literally right in front of us. Just like the stories that you heard the other day of people who were, like in their whole life, and then all of a sudden they just made a small shift, and then they got onto Google, and they searched something on Google that they had never searched before, and next thing you know, they're in Thailand 3 years later. So what we're going to do is we are going to write down what are all the things that you want to accomplish in the next 3 months. And this is a mind dump, meaning just don't even judge it. Just write down what you really want to happen in the next 3 months. And we're going to spend about 5 to 10 minutes on this. So it's a free write. Don't judge it. Just start writing and don't stop writing. All right? Go. The goal is to keep writing and don't stop writing. want to uncover ideas that have never came through us before. It's like pulling the plug on the mind. Once we can release the old thoughts and the old goals, we will make room for new ones. The quality of our life is determined by the questions that we ask ourselves. The moment we can ask ourselves the right question is the moment the right answer will come through us. So the more that we write, it becomes this, what we call a rite of passage. And a rite of passage is a process in which we must endure and able to have an inner transformation. So we always try to think, what's the answer? What is that thing that I need to do? What is that? We're looking outside of us, but we also have to honor that we're going through this process of transformation, and we have to be able to be okay with where we are at right now. And realize that the mind is always trying to become, it's always looking for that next thing to make it feel better about itself. But also to honor where you are at right now is so powerful. And acknowledging that even though you may not have all the answers, or maybe you're not living the life of your dreams at this moment, understanding that you may have a vision for the future, but the process in order to get there may be different than you had imagined. And being okay with that. But at the same time, never giving up to use the power of writing your goals and writing out what it is that you want to create. Because when you do that, you're literally bringing the vision from the ether into the physical reality, into physical form. You're bringing it from the mind down onto paper. How many people here write down their goals? Cool. How many people here use a mind map? Okay. Mind maps are a very powerful tool that we use in the Mind Lab. And we're not going to be able to do it today, but I highly encourage that you choose the top 3 goals right now. Go through your list of goals and identify the top 3 that might be like an overarching theme or overarching like the big picture goals, and bring them down into the 3 boxes below. So there's this idea of, in quantum physics, Einstein called the quantum field the unified field. Have you heard of the unified field? Unified field theory. It's basically that in this moment surrounding us, there's a field of infinite connectedness. Like every one of us is connected to each other through the ether on a plane of existence that he called it the quantum field. There's also a new scientist in town whose name is Nassim Haramein. And Nassim is this genius who actually picked up a mathematical equation where Einstein left off. And this mathematical equation is actually studying this shape right here, which is called the flower of life. And the flower of life is a symbol, an ancient symbol that's been found in over 100 temples and sacred spaces around the world, carved in to these temples. So it's actually a mathematical equation that says that the universe is communicating with itself through this shape. They say that the protons and neurons in our body are constantly blipping in and out of existence. This is the study of quantum physics, which is the study of science on a subatomic level. It's studying energy and light on a subatomic level, which, if you didn't know, we're all made of subatomic particles that are blipping in and out of existence at light speed. So basically, what we can learn from this is that the universe, through this shape, through this kind of looping process, is communicating to itself infinitely inward and infinitely outward. So we can look out to the stars, and if you Google how many stars are in the sky, Google will tell you there's 100 billion stars in the sky. And if you Google how many how many neural connections are in the body, it'll say 100 billion neural connections. Because we are a reflection of the universe. And we can communicate infinitely inward and infinitely outward. Now, something to take into consideration. In the quantum field, all possibilities exist simultaneously. So that means that right now in this moment, I can run out of this door and move to Mexico. Or I could, stay here and go and dance the funky chicken in the middle of the room. Right? Infinite opportunities. Now, I'm not saying that a piano is going to fall from the sky right now and crush me. However, if someone were to organize that, it could be physically possible. Or I could literally just make up all of these ideas and share them, and that too would be a quantum reality. So, neural beats. Binaural beats. So we have this ability to tune in to different future realities, to different possibilities in the quantum field. But the only chance and the only opportunity that we will ever get to do that is if we stop living in the emotions of the past. Because the emotions of the past and the thoughts and the feelings and those emotions are recreating our neural pathways and setting us on a predetermined genetic destiny. That means that because we have the same thought over and over again, I'm just going to keep going towards that idea, that fear that I'm holding on to, that I'm reliving over and over, and I'm saying, I don't want to go there, but my body keeps bringing me there. You know that feeling? I do. Constantly. Constantly. And that is the power of meditation. To slow the mind down to that divine moment right now where we get to choose what path we want to take for our life. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because the meditations that we're learning today and earlier today, it's all about stillness, right? It's all about bringing it back to that moment because that is the divine connection. But in that divine connection, divine being, you have the capability to create what it is that you want to create in your life. Because you have the same power, the same stardust that created all of the heavens within you. We're part of it. We're within it. It's not like it's separate from us. It's literally within us, looking through our eyes and seeing itself in its own reflection. I like to go far out sometimes. It's okay. So, what we're going to do is I want you to turn to the next page of your workbook. And it's all about trajectory. Test your hypothesis. So in the Mind Lab, we actually like to use the scientific method and apply it to your goals, and that's what we do in the full process. And normally, when I do the Mind Lab, it's more science-based, and I don't usually talk about God, or I don't go too far out, because when I do the Mind Lab with corporations and stuff like that, big companies, I have to bring it down a little bit. So I love doing this at the Peace Summit because I get to really just share my heart. So I thank you for hearing me, and because part of my vision for the Mind Lab is to be able to bridge the gap between spirit and science. Because it's like two sides of the brain almost. It's these two audiences, and as you can see, we have half spirit people and half science people in this room. Generally, that's just how it is. What I've seen is we have half and half, and we get to choose, but the power of bridging the two. The power is that we have the ability right now in this moment to choose the trajectory that we are setting our life on. And in Hawaii, the Hawaiians were excellent navigators. They had what they would do in order to navigate to different islands is that they would use the stars as their guide to send them from point A to point B. Because they knew that if they just set sail from one island to the other and they just said, oh, it's that way, they would start sailing, and eventually, if they weren't using the stars to navigate, they might end up at a different island, or they might not even get to an island and just start sailing out into the ocean. The same goes for our life. Navigating by the stars, navigating by our intuition, constantly reflecting on what is it that I need to do in order to maintain trajectory to what I want. So here in this case, we have two options that I want to just discuss as an example. So you have option A and option B. And I want you to take a moment to write in option A, what are the feelings? How would you feel in your body if you were to achieve all of the goals that you just wrote, or at least the 3 top goals? How would you feel in your body if you were to achieve those top 3 goals? And then in option B, how would you feel if you just didn't do anything? If you didn't change? In option B, how would you feel? You don't want to think about it, but here's the reality, is that it is one of the infinite potentials in the quantum field. And so we're just acknowledging it. So that we know what it looks like and we know what we don't, which is important. It's an experiment. Probably wouldn't feel good. Then when you're ready, we're going to draw 2 lines. From the now moment, you're going to draw 1 line that goes to option A, and then one that goes to option B. And then we're going to answer 4 questions. The first question, and we're going to write underneath those top 4 spaces that say release, learn, connect, and create. Right under release, I'm going to ask, what do I need to release in order to maintain trajectory to option A? And you can just write it right underneath release. A unhealthy relationship, unhealthy thoughts, as many as you feel. What do I need to release from my life to stay on option A? Maybe it's an addiction. What do I need to learn? What education do I need? What book do I need to read in order to maintain integrity to option A? Who do I need to connect with? Who is a mentor that I need in order to maintain the trajectory, to keep me in alignment with that highest possibility? And what do I need to create? Do I need to make more time to write my book? Do I need to create an organization? Alright, and when you're ready, you're going to put those most important ones down in the box below. So you're going to identify 4 that you're absolutely willing to commit to. I am releasing this. I am learning this. In the bottom, in the box at the bottom. And then what we're going to do is you're going to turn to the person next to you, and you're going to share this with them. And when you make this decision, when you say this, you need to say it with conviction. Like, you need to make a decision that today, from this moment forward, that you are going to make the conscious decision to start making this change in your life. Because if you don't, you could end up at option B, which would really suck. So write those 4 things down, turn to the person next to you, and then say it like an affirmation. I am releasing this. Feel it with conviction, and remember, we are communicating with the body. The body is the subconscious mind. The body is the subconscious mind. All of those memories, all those experiences that are trapped in the body, we need to start to communicate to the body through feeling and say this affirmation with confidence. Okay? Let's do it.
Did you do it? Don't you think yourself?
Okay. So as a beginner, I did it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I should do it. Yeah. Okay. I'm releasing like years from action. Learning how to live.
When you're ready, you can switch partners if you haven't switched yet.
So I can release, I don't know, walk to this gira mi sembra, gira. Diventa la cosa di
Bringing back.
Actually, this one was
All right. So we've done a pretty good job of squeezing a lot of different concepts into this 1.5 hours, but what I'm really, really excited for is to just do a quick meditation and actually, okay. Okay, great. So go ahead and finish up. Okay, there were 4 things, right? There were 4 things. Release, create, learn, yeah. Cool. So you two can finish up, and then I'm just going to wrap up what I'm saying here. So, is everyone else, who needs to finish? Who's not finished? Okay, I'll give you another minute to say those 4 things, and say it with passion. So we finished at 11:30. Is that what time we finished? 11:30. So we're going to wrap up with one last meditation. And the goal of this meditation is to change your energy. Because that is what we need to do. We need to change our energy. You change your energy, you change your life. We are emitting an electromagnetic frequency that every time that we have that thought and that feeling, and we create that reality, we are sending out energy, but we're also drawing ourselves closer to that reality. We're drawing ourselves closer to that. And it's not just like an ethereal, like, oh, it's happening out there somewhere. No, it's literally we're on a predetermined genetic destiny. And so we want to be able to see that future reality and then experience it right now in this moment. Experience it, communicate to the body through feeling. Because the language of the mind is thought. The language of the body is feeling. Let's say that one more time. The language of the mind is thought. The language of the body is feeling. So when you're ready, find yourself in a comfortable seated position. And I want you to really actually sit up this time. Remember, we're training the body like the animal. We want to communicate to the body. We want to bring that energy up. So when you're ready, you can softly close your eyes. We're going to start with breathing so that we can disrupt those pathways that are in our body and our neural network. So we're going to hold our breath. We're going to take a deep breath from the bottom of your spine to the top of your head. We're going to hold that breath at the top of your head and let it build as an energy. When you're ready, relax. Do it again. You're going to take a deep breath from the bottom of the spine to the top of your head and hold it there. Let it build as an energy. And then release it into the field. Again, give it your best. From the bottom of your spine to the top of your head, hold that energy there. Let it build. And release it into the field. Keep going. Go a little bit further. Bring that energy up. Let it build. And release it to the field. Give it your best. Come on. Raise your energy. Hold that breath at the top of your head. Let it build. Relax. Now just feel. See if you can feel the space inside of the body, the flame inside of the body. Can you feel the heartbeat in your chest? Can you feel the heartbeat moving from your chest into your hands? Can you feel the heartbeat move from your hands into your legs and into your feet? Now, can you imagine the space inside of your body and the volume of space that your body takes up in space? Raise your energy. If your mind starts to wander, bring it back into the moment. Can you feel the space inside of the body and the volume of space that your body takes up in space? With a deep breath, now we're going to move into the future. Is there a potential in your life that you could experience the joy and the vitality of a new life? And what would it feel like in your body if you were to experience the joy, the passion, the vitality of that new life? What would it feel like? Communicate to your body on a cellular level as you raise your energy. Stay present. is there a possibility in your future for you to have a clear mind and a balanced body? And what would it feel like in your body if you were to raise your energy, communicate with your body through feeling? There's a potential in your future for you to create an organization or a business that thrives. What would it feel like in your body? What would it feel like to create that? And to have that impact in the community? Raise your energy. The body doesn't know the difference. The conscious mind brings in the dots. Send the feelings down into your body by raising your energy. Now imagine that you were to move all the way to the end of your life. And imagine that you were in the middle of a forest. And as you walk through this forest, there's a little house, a little cabin. And as you get closer, you see a little old man or a little old woman in a rocking chair. It's you. And as you approach that house, you're greeted with a smile and a big hug. And you sit in the chair next to that future self. And you see the vitality and health of this old self. And just take a moment to receive any advice or wisdom or guidance that that future self may have for you now. And with so much joy, just give yourself a big hug right now. Wrap your hands around yourself and give that future self a big hug. You can do this. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. When you're ready, you can slowly, very slowly, open your eyes. If you have any visions from that future self, I encourage you to write it down. Any insights. Because what we just did right there was we actually tapped into the quantum field. We just tapped into the infinite potentials that exist. And we can actually pull out information and bring that back into our reality right now. And when we do that, they call it collapsing the wave function. Because in the field, it's all wave. It's all waves. It's just these ethereal waves of energy. And when we pull that out of the sky, down onto our paper, into our life, we are pulling new information and new insights into our reality. How was that for you?
Spirituality rocks. It was very visceral and visual at the same time. Like not a vision which I am projecting myself, but vision which comes itself. So, it's like a passport. Going through the images, appearing itself.
There's a email, a list. I'd like to get you guys' email, and I can send you some more information about the Mind Lab, and I'd love to stay in touch with you. And we're doing like a world tour, and so we'd love to come and bring the Mind Lab to your community. But I'm really interested if anyone had any insights from this experience or anything that they'd like to share.
It's gonna be fun, it's gonna be all right, like don't worry, just roll. Very leadership. It's really strange to imagine this. I used to plan not to get old. So, I think this was the first time in my life that I practiced myself getting old. And first it was frightening. But then when you said that your visual is strong for yourself, and I felt that. And oh yes, that's possible too. And then I tried to imagine what would I do my old self in the forest, in a puppet. That would be beautiful. And then I could imagine meeting that old self. And I imagined that myself was the light that I was seeing. Not just imagine her saying, relax. Relax. And it washes my body through with laughter.
Use your life. Dear Jonathan, I would like to express my thanks towards you because you represent, I would compare it a little bit to Star Wars. You are like the Luke Skywalker, coming from far away, let's say, Hawaii. Like, definitely my journey as well, like, started with this kind of, I don't want to generalize, but let's say this kind of American approach. Like, and everything what you said, I have read somewhere, and it's so important to repeat it. And wow, this gave me actually my first baby steps towards spirituality, But in the end, the dark way is coming, And he's saying to you like, wow, you are my son, Andre. You're like, what the fuck, man? Stay away from me. I'm the light. And no, there is actually the fun part is starting to dark way. Because right now, when I made something like the light is coming inside right now, through you, Luke, then still there is, you are waking up a lot of dark inside of me, which is so good to work with. And yeah, I don't know if your sport is now like lighter than from dark weather, but definitely it's there. You are part of it, my friend.
Andre, I am your father. Awesome, you guys. All right, well, I want to just close this ceremony with two last things. One is we are going to get a group photo, but not after. I want to make sure that everyone signs up with your email, and I'll send you some information. I'll send you this workbook so that you can do it again on your own. And then also we just launched an online program, and it's like really epic. It's the full Mind Lab program we've been doing all over the world, and basically we've turned it into a really powerful transformational experience. And so I'll send you more information about that, and you can actually use it for free and test it out. So I'll share that with you, and then group photo, and then also this tour that I'm on. It's called the Activate Tour. And so I hope that you have been activated by this workshop, and I'd like to end it with the Activate handshake. And if you would all rise to your feet. Cool. And basically we all turn to the left, that way. And then one hand goes out like this. Yep. You're gonna use the, I think it's on timer right now. Here, let me just change this real quick. Maybe we do video, yeah? Thank you. All right, and so we're gonna just take a couple steps inward. Yep. Keep moving. Watch out for the water. Keep going, we got it. Let everyone in. Everyone gotta get in there. Everyone's gotta get in there. One singular point.
Oh my God.
Spiral to the right.
On three, we're going to say activate and explode. 1, 2, 3. Activate!
Where's that email list? Okay, cool. So yeah, please sign up to get that. We'd love to stay connected with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Andre, I am your father.
But I like the dark energy thing because the reality is that we all have a shadow side, and it's so important to honor it. can acknowledge that and not be afraid of our shadow side, but actually, explore it and be willing to, know that it is part of us, and it's not evil, it's not bad, it's just something that needs to be heard and sometimes expressed, and so often that you can share that. Cool. So I think lunch. I think we should set the chairs back up how it was before. So if you guys can help with that, that'd be great. Do you want to? Yeah, I'm the second email list here. Before we have the business card, I think we need to do. Oh, and then also, I just wanted to give you guys a flyer for next week, or this weekend actually. We're doing an event, so I'll give you one of these.
Oh, yeah.
This Saturday, you're free on Saturday. There's going to be a full live atmosphere.
Are you taking tour on your now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your next destination?
I will actually destination was here
Nope.